Hey guys, how are we doing today? I know normally we start with some music, but guys, I don't have my life together at the moment, working on it. And speaking of not having our lives together, I know Kari is normally here. Well, Kari had a little bit of an accident earlier, nothing major. She just needed to get some stitches in. She dropped some glass, stepped on it, and I get a phone call saying, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to be late." And now here we are. So you got just me today, and I feel like my other half is missing, and not a fan. Not a fan at all. I miss my Kari. But today we are talking to the wonderful Kim from Tumblr. It is I Lost My Shoe -79. Today we are talking about shipping. Now, shipping in fandom now is such a controversial thing, which is kind of weird. It's like one of those things that you don't really think about being such a big deal as it is, because you're just wanting two characters to be happy together. Like you think, oh, that's such a no-brainer, but really, really it's not. And that's one of the things we're going to definitely be talking about. And as always, keeping an eye on our chat over here. Yes, poor Kari, Erin, definitely poor Kari. She just says she was glad that her dog's not around, so he didn't get stepped on glass too, because that's a whole nother. It's one thing to hurt yourself, but having your animal whiny too. Kari's whiny enough for both of them, so. But shipping is just a really, really hot topic. We're going to be thinking about a lot of canon-based, which is canon, which one's not. What are the differences between the two? See, the way we normally set up is we're having a back and forth. I don't really have my other half to go back and forth with. So we're just going to, I guess we'll come back. Kari's supposed to be getting here. I told her, don't rush, don't worry about it. She's, note to self, or note to everybody, she's not driving herself. She got a friend to drive her to the emergency room. I was on the phone, and apparently together we're hopeless. So Kari and I are hopeless, as per Kari's friend. So who do we have in the chat today? We have Michelle, we have Erin, Megan, hi. Amy, good to see you. I've missed talking to you so much. And then Dean Mac, I don't know, just another salt member. I don't know you. Well, hi, welcome, all of our little friends here. Yes, Michelle, Kari is in, or was in the emergency room. She cut her foot by accident. Yeah, lots of fun. Not her greatest moment, but you know, we've all had some moments. Had a couple of those last night. It was great. But let's get started. We are jumping in. Let's bring in Miss Kim. Whoop. Up. There we go. You can unmute yourself, I think. It says you're muted. There we go.
Hi, can you hear me?
Can you hear me? I can hear you.
Okay, how do I turn off that echo?
I'm not hearing an echo.
Okay, I'm not anymore either. Hi, guys.
All right, we are going good. All right, so normally this is where Kari takes over. So we're just gonna wing it. All right, so how long have you been writing specifically ship fics?
Oh, let's see. I've had my blog for almost 3 years, and I want to say probably about 2 years I've been writing ships.
Which is
it took me a while.
Oh, I'd like to note, yes, I'm eating on screen again. It's 3 o'clock and I haven't had lunch yet, so.
It happens.
If you weren't here on our first episode, I also had not eaten that day. So I was eating then, and now I'm eating again today. It's all good. It's all good. Life happens. It's been a long day. I've been on the road for 3 hours already today, so.
And I know that when I talk, you guys can't actually see me, and that is because if you don't know, I've talked about this on Tumblr before. With my job, I don't show my face. I need to stay as anonymous as possible because my job would not be pleased with the porn. So
some jobs you just She's living a double life, guys. She's
True.
Spoiler alert, she's a secret agent.
Yes, that's exactly what I am. I'm actually a writer for Supernatural, and if they knew what I was writing in my spare time, no, I'm kidding.
Just kidding. But yeah, for her safety and for everything, just to make things a lot less complicated, we have a lovely blue circle for Kim's face. You didn't know she was one of the. Yes, I have Zaxby's. Valeria, yes, I have Zaxby's. It's great. Okay, next question, because I can't. This is why we need Kari, because I can't stay on topic.
It's okay.
I'm just gonna keep like falling down rabbit holes. So you've been writing for about 2 years. Do you prefer reader inserts or ship fics, personally?
Well, reading, I've always preferred to read ships. Writing, if you'd asked me when I first started my blog, obviously it would have been reader inserts because that's all I wrote. But now, definitely ships. That's my thing now.
Why? What's your appeal to ships?
Well, I think at first it was a challenge for me to write ships, just because you have two already developed personalities as opposed to the vague reader. You can play around with the dynamics that are already there, and especially if you're a multi-shipper, because I know for me, this is going to make a lot of people cringe. I ship the two main ships. I ship both Wincest and Destiel, and apparently that's a crime in some worlds. But
the shock, the awe.
But it's interesting to me to. I know it's interesting to me. People are jumping ship on my blog right now. No, you can't ship both. No, but to me, it's interesting to write that because I feel like Dean, especially the way that the dynamics are between Dean and Sam, if you write that ship, is very different from the dynamics between Dean and Cass, and so it's always been kind of fun for me to play around with the characters and ships. You can kind of get involved in some more interesting characterizations than you can with reader inserts.
So what would you say are the main differences between writing like Destiel and Wincest, especially from writing Dean? Because you have the same character, but like you said, it's different. What do you think are the main differences with that?
Well, I mean, the power balances are a little bit different. Between him and Sam and him and Cass. And with Destiel, for me, it depends on when you're writing it, because I feel like Cass is so different now from when he was first on the show.
Very
that their relationship is a little bit different. And also, with Dean and Sam, you have a history. And with Dean and Cass, you have this connection of Cass, literally pulling him out of hell. And it's just there's a whole lot of different dynamics between the two of them, and of course with Wincest you always have the it's literally incest aspect to it that people don't like to talk about.
It's fiction. It's not real.
No, I'm aware.
But Michelle points out a very interesting comment. She says, has anyone else noticed that everyone loves Dean and Jensen? The most popular ships in the show and real person fiction all seem to include Dean and Jensen.
Well,
very valid.
I might have to turn off my anon after this because I'm probably going to get hate for what I'm about to say. But I think
hate is not no one. Okay, let's disclaimer. No one's allowed to say hate for things said on this show.
Right.
No, not okay.
Yes, everybody loves Dean and Jensen, obviously, and I do too. But I think part of the reason why he's involved in so many of the ships of the show is not necessarily because everybody loves him so much that they always want to see him, but just because his character lends himself to it. He's the one that's involved with Cass the most. He's the one that's there with Sam the most. You had his whole in purgatory with Benny situation. You had him with Lisa. You had him, like, you've seen him close enough to more people than you have, like, we haven't really seen Sam have those relationships with as many other characters as we have Dean. So he kind of lends himself to shipping, I think, a little bit more.
You can say watching. Oh, there's right there. I hear it now. Watching Dean and Lisa and like Sam and what was the dog lady's name?
Amelia.
Because we both had similar relationships there.
Yeah, I don't know. I've got some issues with Amelia, but
we all do a little bit.
More than I do with Lisa, which is interesting because you're right. They did play similar roles, obviously.
And to Jody, Kim, I'm Rachel. Okay. I don't know if that's the question. The question is, Kim, which one are you?
Which one am I what? What does that mean? I'm sorry.
That's what I'm trying to ask. Jody, just stick it. I'm watching the chat. Just stick in there. I'm Rachel. Kim is the little blue head. Job. So if we didn't clarify that, sorry, but I'm Rachel, otherwise Rach. Hi, nice to meet you. Welcome to the storm. It's doing great. Alrighty, so our next question in here is, do you get any hate for any of the ships you write for? Which I think we touched on that a little bit with the Wincest.
Yeah. I've actually been pretty lucky as far as a non-hate about the ships themselves. Really, the only hate that I've gotten about me writing ships is, they're brothers, right? Yes.
Yeah.
I know.
Which is
yep.
Yes. I have watched an episode of the show.
I picked up on that. I don't. Yeah. somewhere around the 4th or 5th season, I realized, hey, are these two related? Yeah, that's really the only, and for me, that particular question is easy to ignore. I've written a couple posts about why I ship it, because I get it. I mean, it makes people uncomfortable, and it probably should a little bit. I've written a lot of Wincest that touches on the fact that it's probably not all that healthy. It is very codependent. It is a little, so I've written some posts about that as well. But I think that's the only ship that I've really gotten hate for writing. I have gotten some very vague hate about switching from reader inserts to ships. Not any specific ship I was writing, but just you used to write reader inserts and now you're focusing a lot on ships and how dare you. But
yeah, I mean, I think it was Kari, which if Kari was here, but she's not because anyway, but she's very adamant of, I lost my document with all my questions in it. So I'm just kind of flying by the seat.
Sure.
Oh, shoot.
I actually can pull up the document if you would like for me to.
I have so many documents because I also do Creative Writing Club and they have documents, and I have my Google Doc is insane. But that's week 2. That's not week 3. Anyway, she has got very, very opinionated. Erin, hush! I know I'm always losing it. She's very opinionated on the fact that nothing but reader inserts gets any attention or any love on Tumblr.
I would say that it depends on what part of Tumblr you're looking at. I think on Tumblr, people see what they're interested in because that's the nature of Tumblr. You control who you follow and you control your dash. And so at this point, I see a lot of shipping on my dash because that's who I follow a lot more now than I used to when I started. I think that each different group is very loud in their own corners. And if you're not in that particular corner, you don't seem to notice it. But yeah, reader inserts for sure do get a lot of attention. Absolutely. But I feel like shipping does as well.
I have so many screens pulled up, guys. I lost my track. Okay, so
here's a question in the chat from Amy that says, was it difficult to change between reader inserts to ships? It wasn't difficult to start writing the ships. It was a little bit nerve-wracking to switch my blog from reader inserts to ships because I had developed a following that was based on the fact that I wrote reader inserts. And I think that anybody who runs a blog, we write for ourselves and we write what we enjoy, but there's still that, there are people who read this and they're my friends. And if I switch, like, you get a little bit of guilt for switching things, or you're afraid that people aren't gonna be as into it as you are. But the writing it itself was actually just a lot of fun to make that switch. Because like I said, it's a little more challenging and a little more interesting to me to write about two characters that I can play around with already developed personalities. Reader inserts, the way that I write them, and this is not true of all reader inserts. I know plenty of reader insert writers who make their readers pretty much original characters, but for me, I kept mine pretty vague.
Yeah.
And so it was a lot more fun for me to write the ships.
And I'm getting messages from school. Sorry. I have so many hashtags. Alrighty. So what is your favorite ships?
My favorite ships?
Reading.
Right now, I am real deep in the Wincest trash can, but it changes. Sam and Jody will forever have a special place in my heart because I write them, and I think that's actually on our list to talk about later, so I'll kind of wait for that. But Sam and Jody have a special place in my heart, but I'm always and forever in the Wincest trash can. Jess, my wonderful, wonderful Jess, Abaddon with y'all.
So I just saw her on my dash, and I'm like, is she coming back?
Yeah, I get to see her next month. She's taking a trip for work, and she's coming close to me, and we're gonna hang out, and I'm so excited. Anyway, Jess likes to make fun of me because Jess, I don't think she's a Wincest shipper actually, but she's very cool about all that stuff, and she'll listen to me talk about it. And she once told me that I was so far in the Wincest trash can that I was not even at the bottom of the trash can. I was the sludgy slime underneath the bag that when you take the bag out, you should wash out the trash can, but you don't. You just leave it there and put a fresh bag over top of it. That's what I was when it came to Wincest. And she's not entirely wrong at this point in my life.
Only a writer could come up with something that
I know. Only Jess could have come up with that. If anybody watching knows Jess, only Jess could have come up with that particular analogy there. Okay, so Michelle's asking me in the chat, have you ever considered writing OFCs or reader inserts where the reader is basically an original character? I have. I haven't actually written any that way yet. I have inserted a few original characters into fics that already had main ships, but I have not written just one character and made her the other half of the ship yet. And there's not a real reason why I haven't done that yet. I guess maybe just the right plot hasn't popped up in my brain.
It'll come. Sorry, I'm still eating my chicken.
Oh, do you, boo? Food is important.
I'm trying. All right, so as this kind of a second half to that one, are there any ships that you just cannot get behind? Maybe not hate per se, but you just can't ship it.
I want to say no, simply because I'm a firm believer in shipping whatever the hell you want to ship.
Yeah, definitely.
But at the same time, for me personally, I don't read Sam and Lucifer.
Yeah.
And I don't really have a problem with that ship. In fact, it makes a lot of sense in my brain, and I think you could probably write some really fucking interesting. Sorry, am I allowed to say fuck? Some really interesting about that, and I'm sure that there are some just incredibly well written things that explore Sam and Lucifer, but for me it freaks me out a little bit, so I haven't been able to write it.
A lot of people have feelings about Sam and Lucifer, and I have sometimes it's kind of like I have read it because I am a Lucifer fan, guys. Sorry, Michelle.
Oh, the character's incredible.
Yeah, I love him so much. But there was one that was really, really, really I cannot remember it. It was well written. But especially when it goes into and it addresses all of the issues that Sam has with Lucifer.
Oh yeah, there's so much to explore there.
There's so much, and they I feel like what goes wrong with a lot of what's the ship name? I don't remember it. Lucifer. No.
Samifer.
That's it. I have so many ship names thrown at me all the time because I also have. I'm not full in the Michelle can't find a way to love them. I can. But they do explore particular fic does explore like what Lucifer did to Sam and why Sam has a problem, and they work through that, which is an amazing way. And I feel like a lot of fics that try, they just skip over that. And where you hit problems and when you just skip over kind of a really strong point in their relationship.
And see, if I was going to write Samifer ever, that would be like, to me, that's why you would write it, to explore those dynamics. And I really hate to be that person who's like, you know, you ship whatever you want, but I just can't do it because, you know, people who ship Samifer don't need my permission or my blessing to ship Samifer.
You don't need permission to do something. Like, no. Unless just your mom, then you probably need a little bit of permission.
Sure.
I will never get too old to not need my mom's permission for stuff.
Okay. No, I'm much older than you, and I still listen to my mom for sure.
Oh yeah, no, I did not listen to my mom last night though. Mom told me to do something. I deferred to my aunt who said other things. Anyway, off topic once again, queen of off topic, guys. All right, so what do you think is the I think we touched on this a lot, but just to get it out of, because if I don't go in order, I'm going to get confused. But what's the biggest difference between writing ships and reader insert? Is there anything besides? Wait, Jody, what was your question? Did I miss it? She said my question wasn't answered. Did I miss it?
Do we miss a question? We'll answer it.
It doesn't have to be just about ships. We'll answer.
Oh, it says, I found it. It says, what other fandoms are you in?
Yeah, that's a fine question.
Supernatural is the only fandom that I actively like do anything with on the internet. It's the only one I write for. As just enjoying other fandoms. I'm into Marvel. I'm into Stranger Things right now. Oh man, guys. Stranger Things. I'm into
it's on my list.
Pretty much all the main ones. Doctor Who, Sherlock, all of the big fandoms I enjoy.
Yeah. Supernatural's really the only one I write for. I have written a little bit for The Walking Dead. I'm a Negan fan. Not afraid to admit it.
Of course.
Like,
I'm sure a lot of people don't love him, but I love
like Negan. Karina and I are currently watching it together because she doesn't have Netflix, so we rabbit it together. If you don't know what that is, it's like we can, or anybody doesn't know what it is. It's like you kind of log onto your Netflix and everyone can watch in the same room kind of thing. So I have my aunt's Netflix. It's not mine, but you know, I steal it. But so we're watching it together. I'm watching The Walking Dead. My friend is trying to get me to watch Teen Wolf. The only problem is
Teen Wolf is pretty good. I've watched it.
Well, my problem is they want me to watch season 3 with them, like physically with them. I don't have time to hang out, guys. I don't know if you, but my life is a little bit hectic.
I will say this for Teen Wolf. It's not my favorite. I enjoy the hell out of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a very fun show, but it's not my favorite.
Yeah.
But if I were to write a ship from any other fandom, it would probably be Styles and Derek. Because while that show is not my absolute favorite, those two, man,
are the greatest.
They are perfect.
They are the greatest. The amount of sass.
Oh, yeah. And how, you know, Derek can be like bleeding out on the ground, writhing in pain, and he will pause long enough to give Styles a bitch face and call him an idiot before he goes back to writhing in pain.
Yeah. That's exactly what that's talking about. But that's pretty much all I've got as far as what fandoms I'm in. I don't have a lot of time to watch TV, guys.
Yeah, I know, me neither.
Between school, work, and trying to keep up with this writing thing that I'm trying to do.
And, you know, every now and then, like, relaxing or maybe talking to a friend in real life.
Talking to a friend, you know, hanging out with friends. Spending a weekend with my family, like this weekend, yeah. I had my friend's birthday party, or my cousin's birthday party last night. And before we got there early, because I was at my aunt's house, we wanted to go and help set up. I was literally doing homework sitting on the floor over there because
Yeah.
You sit in the floor and you do your homework, and then you can party. But keep on. We moving on, and still haven't heard from Karina, which I'm kind of like, I'm gonna call her afterwards if she doesn't pick up soon.
Yeah, but we can check on her, make sure she's okay.
Yeah, because I talked to her. When did I talk to her? She called me maybe 2-ish in my time. I'm Eastern Standard Time, guys, and Karina's in Denmark.
Well, if she was just on her way to the emergency room, then it's only been like an hour and a half. I'm sure she's still there.
Well, she said she was gonna hopefully be back by 8 o'clock her time, which is what time did it might have been earlier because I had
3 hour time. I don't know. I don't know how time zones work across the ocean. It's a mystery to me.
She called me at 12, so that was almost 4 hours ago.
There's a fantastic question from Erica in our chat.
Yeah, I just saw that.
It says, how do you think the fandom on Tumblr, especially the writers, has changed? It feels so different to me. I've been in and out for most of the year. Oh, man. Rach, you want to start this one?
Erica, stop with the awesome questions over here. Not really. Keep them rolling. Yikes, how we've changed. See, I've been on for maybe, I think I've been posting for about 3 years. I started right after I moved to college, which I'm in my 3rd year now. So I don't think I've been like really, really super active for about 2 years. It has changed a lot. For a while there was really, really confrontational a lot, which I felt, which kind of put me off of it a little bit. But it's kind of one of those things where you just kind of power through it. Like with everything, there's ups and downs, which I feel like the fandom has been through a lot of ups and downs recently. Does that make sense? Like, yeah, it does feel very, very different. But I think a lot of dynamics have changed. Like, I've seen people come and I've seen people go, which changes the fandom a lot.
I think for me, I'm not so sure that the fandom has changed so much as the relationship between writers and readers has changed. I think recently there have been a lot of there's no way to say this without sounding horrible. I think that there have been a lot of bratty and entitled readers and a lot of bratty and entitled writers. And I think that, when readers come at writers, they get very snappy and defensive, which in turn makes the readers, feel like the writers are snobby and elitist, and it just kind of creates this whole cycle.
There's been a breakdown between the writers and the readers. Like, there's the communication.
Sure. And I don't know where it started or how it started, and why it started. It very much is coming from both sides, for sure. And I'm guilty of it too. I'm guilty of clapping back a little too hard sometimes. But I think it's become almost a business on Tumblr, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I have a decent amount of followers, and I never really intended to. And what I've noticed is the more followers you have, the more you kind of have to run it like a business. Simply just because of, there's just, and it's changed a whole lot in the 3 years that I've been doing it. And I've been trying to think a lot lately about whether that's because anything's really changed or whether it's just the difference in, like, I've switched what I write a whole lot. I don't know.
Jody, do not feel like that. Please don't. She says, I want to write for Supernatural, but I feel like I won't do it justice like these two. Don't compare yourself to us. You do your own thing. Please do not ever feel like.
Oh, okay. Jody. The other day, I went and read the first fic I ever posted.
Oh, yeah.
I wanted to throw up in my mouth. It was so bad. And then I read it again and I thought, okay, it's bad, but it's not that bad, you know, like.
Oh,
So
mine was that.
we're all our own worst critics. And even now, like 3 years into this, there are absolutely people that make me feel like, why do you even bother to write? You can never do what this other person does. And I think it's really important to just tell that person, oh my gosh, your writing is amazing, and then go back and continue writing your own thing.
Totally.
And it doesn't have to be the same. It doesn't have to hit, you know, and it's all subjective, because those people that I look up to and think, oh my gosh, they're so amazing, I'm sure there are other people who would read it and be like, this is crap. So because writing is so subjective, you really can't compare yourself to other people. But there's an audience for you, man. If you're a writer, there's an audience.
And if you write, as you, not if, when you post, Jody, I want a tag, please. I want it. Tag me. Add me to your tag list. I'll read it. I'm trying to watch. Keep an eye. Don't want to miss any other questions.
Out of curiosity, which fic was your first, if you want to let us know? Oh man, it's still on my master list, but I feel like this is going to make people go read it now, and I just want to cringe and hide. It was a reader insert about she had been attacked by vampires, and of course Dean and Sam came to her rescue, and she ended up kind of, her family had all been killed, and she ended up kind of getting her life back together with the help of Dean and Sam, and of course along the way fell in love with Dean. And so there was some smut in it as well, because in case you guys haven't picked up on that, that's kind of what I do. That's my little corner of fanfic. I love the smut. So
we picked up on it. Or at least I have. I've known you long enough. But let's see. Let me find my place in the dark.
What's the next question?
Next question is, last week we talked about real person fiction.
Yep.
We talked about that was Jamie. It was great. But do you feel there's a difference between writing real person fiction ships and character ships?
Oh, absolutely. Anybody who's ever watched the show and watched Sam and then watched an interview with Jared Padalecki in real life know that they are not the same person.
No, you're not.
I think that Jensen every now and then has a little bit of Dean in him. But Jared's a hyper puppy. And I think the difference is I know Sam and Dean. I don't know Jared Padalecki and Jensen Ackles. I know what I've seen of them in interviews. I know what they have put on their social media. I know what they let us see. But, you know, when you write real person fics, a lot of times you're kind of you're kind of creating your own character a little bit. I mean, we know vague things, but I feel like I know the characters of the show obviously a lot better than I know the people in real life. So writing real person ships is trickier for me, because I question myself more as I'm writing it. Like, would Jensen really say that? Or is this really what so-and-so would do? And I don't know. I can always figure out what Dean and Sam would do, but.
That's very valid. Well, that's all the questions that Kari made up.
Yep.
So we have a couple in here from some of our viewers who are
cool.
Awesome. So this one is from Aaron, who is chilling in our chat from
Aaron. That's Black Tide, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Black Tide 7. Aaron, who recently put on her Facebook pink hair, which was awesome. I thought it was real. It was not, so I was kind of disappointed. Aaron, real pink hair. Let's do that. I'm all for it. Anyway, says for the next episode of The Writer's Room. Love the show, by the way. We love you too. But Kim, what made you decide to start writing ships? And what ship, if any, do you find yourself gravitating to the most? So what made you start?
What made me start was a combination of, there was a period when I wasn't necessarily bored with reader inserts, but there was a period where I felt like through my own fault, I was kind of writing the same thing over and over.
Yeah,
and so
going through that.
So ships kind of gave me a new challenge. So it was partially that, and it was also partially the fact that I actually read ships before I even knew what a reader insert was, and I have always read ships. And so part of me just decided, I read them and I love them, so why not just write them as well? And as far as my favorite, right now it's Wincest. When I first started, it was definitely Destiel. And if Kari was here, she would be screeching at me about Destiel because she actually blames me for her shipping Destiel.
She always blames me.
Yeah, I know. And I just want to tell her, no, it's you. You like Destiel.
See, we can draft on her because she's not here.
Yeah, when I first started, I wrote mostly just Destiel and then expanded from there.
We have, before it runs away, let's grab that question from the chat. Not sure if I'm allowed to ask. You're always allowed to ask, but I'm curious. What are your thoughts on tagging Jensen and Jared in character ship / not safe for work stuff? I see it a lot on Instagram.
Oh my.
Personally, that's kind of like, that's crossing a line for me.
Yeah, and again, I don't want to be that person who, tells other people or police. I don't want to police the fandom. Other people don't need my permission or anybody's permission to do things. But for me personally, I feel like, they don't. It's just kind of not cool, like they.
Myself.
It's a little. I just think about if it were me.
Yeah.
And if people were sending me, nude artwork of me that they had done, or like if they were tagging me in it without specifically asking permission and getting permission first, that just feels a little weird to me.
Yeah. Same.
Because again, I feel like this side of the fandom is for us. It's for us to explore and to have fun. Not necessarily for them to, have to take a stand or have to respond in any way if they don't want to. So
you can stand alone without them.
Right.
Like they don't have to, this is something that like they don't have to be as involved. Oh goodness gracious. Jody says her light bulb.
Oh.
And there are
Get some salt. Get some salt. If your lights are blowing, grab some salt and your holy water.
Kari was screeching at me to get salt. I was home alone Friday night at my family home. I don't care if anybody else doesn't believe in ghosts. I do, because I'm sitting on the couch in the middle of the house. I hear my cat in the front room, and I hear the back door violently shaking. And nobody's there. It's not the first.
Yeah, that's not okay. It's not okay.
Yeah, no, it's not okay. And Kari's like, get this salt. I'm almost like, it's fine. It's just Uncle who passed away a long time ago. We're good. Haunted house.
I just freaked out a little bit because I saw that Jess, who we were talking about earlier, Abaddon with y'all, she liked my post about us going live. Does that mean she's here? Jess, are you here?
Yes, we see you. Someone tell her to get her butt in here. Wind. Oh, I was like, wind. I was like, Amy, what are you talking about? Wind as in knocking the bulbs. We're gonna move on. This one, we got another question. This one's from Manna.
Hi, Manna. I don't even know if she's in the chat, but hey, Manna.
I don't think she's here. I haven't seen her at least, but she's been Snapchatting me, which is kind of funny. Oh yeah, Erin, I remember that.
Manna had a lot of questions because she sent me the ask as well.
Yeah, let's just take one at a time.
Okay.
What are your favorite ships to write for and why? I think we hit.
Again, we've talked about this, but Wincest and Destiel are my two top ones, and Sam and Jody, which we're going to talk about later when we talk about specific fics. Just because Wincest and Destiel for me, because I think there's a lot of interesting dynamics between those characters.
And which are the most challenging?
Ooh. Okay, so I've written a few Dean and Donnas, but not a lot. I know that people love Dean and Donna, And I love the characters individually. I love them platonically. I don't mind to write them as a ship, but it's a little challenging for me to write them as a ship because their personalities to me mesh in a way that's very comforting and platonic. And so it's always a challenge for me to try and get them into, sexy situations. But
I just cannot see it. No hate, not trying to be mean to anybody. I just cannot see it. Nope. Alrighty, and do you have a ship that you love but haven't written yet?
Not that I can think of, but I read a lot of rare pairs that I'm like, I never even thought about that, and then I fall in love with a new ship. But I think I've written some of the rare pairs that I like.
Yeah.
I really love Sam and Eileen. I really love Sam. This is so weird. I really love Sam and Rowena.
Yes.
I think that one's real interesting.
Was it you that just wrote something for that?
I haven't written any. I have one thing with them on my kink list, but I wrote it a while ago. I know that the ever wonderful and talented justanothersaltandburn has written one recently.
Someone, I was at home, I was like, I do not need to be reading this in front of my family. Not cool.
But I don't think
Samandra.
See, I'm very, if I get a ship in my head that I want to write, I just write it. So I don't know that I have any that I'm like waiting to write.
Sorry, pause. Michelle, who is writing Samandriel and Gadriel though?
Oh, I love it. Samandriel and Gadriel, I love it. I've never written either of those characters.
I've never even heard of that one.
Angels are a little tricky for me to write sometimes. So I don't always feel super comfortable.
Whoever knows Samandriel and Gadriel fic, I put it in my inbox. I want to know. I want to know. All right. And what advice can you give to new shippers about writing their pairings and getting it out there?
The same advice I give to everybody when they want to know how to get exposure. Tag the ever-loving shit out of it. And I don't necessarily mean tag other people.
Yeah.
Although you can do that, but if you're going to tag other people in your fic, it would be in your best interest to kind of maybe creep on their blog a little bit and see if they have any disclaimers. You don't want to accidentally tag somebody in a ship that they're not comfortable with.
Yeah.
You don't want to tag somebody in smut if they don't read smut. So you have to be careful in tagging specific people unless you've already spoken to them about it. But like when I first started my blog, everything I wrote had every possible tag. Dean Reader, Dean with the X, Dean with the slash, Dean, like every possible way you could write it. And then I would do it all over again. Dean Winchester Reader, Dean Winchester with, every possible tag you can think of. Tag it. And I know that there's that whole only the first 5 tags count thing. But honestly, that's what I did and how I got my name out there.
Which, if anybody knew and didn't know, if you download Xkit, you can actually do tag bundles. I think it's so many, like you can put so many tags, and all you have to do is hit that one bundle once, and it'll fill in all the tags. Like if you wanted to have a Dean tag, you can fill in like all of your different things, so you don't have to write them out once, which I just thought was kind of nifty.
And I also think that it's important if you're just starting out and you're wanting to kind of have other people read your writing, if you're wanting exposure. I followed a lot of people who were into the same thing as me. And then they see that you're following them, and lots of people will check out your blog. And it's really just a game of interacting, I think, to get exposure. As far as like writing your first ships and being nervous about it and all of that, it is a little nerve-wracking.
Oh yeah.
Especially if you're already established and you're looking to switch to something else. But you know, what I always say about that is, you know, just fucking do it. It's for fun. You know, hold your breath and hit the button.
Yeah, and what advice for newbies for getting past potential hate that'll come their way? That's kind of in parentheses with from Anna.
I answered an ask the other day about this, and it was an anonymous, so I don't know who sent it, but she was getting ready to post her first Wincest, and she was nervous about backlash because that does seem to be the ship that gets a lot of hate. And here's the thing: constructive criticism is very different from ship hate.
Yeah.
Constructive criticism should be helpful, should be designed to improve your writing. It should be to alert you to something that you didn't know before, and it should leave you with a way to improve. Constructive criticism you should listen to. Hate is somebody coming into your inbox saying, you didn't write the exact thing that I want, so fuck you. You're gross. That, hit the delete button and move on with your life, because that is pointless. That is not helpful. That there's no reason for it whatsoever, except some asshole anon wanted to be a douche. And that, to me, there's no point in wasting my time worrying about that, simply because, like, it had nothing to do with me. Like, when you get hate that's just somebody else's personal opinion and they don't like what you wrote because you didn't cater to them, that has nothing to do with you or your writing or how good you are. Thinking about it that way always made it a little easier for me. And I know it always stings to get a non-hate, but it always kind of made it a little easier for me to think about it as, this doesn't have anything to do with me or my story. This is about them. And I can just delete it and move on. So, yeah, there's my little soapbox, guys.
It was beautiful. It was beautiful. I'm trying to figure out. We just put some emojis in the chat because
I see that. You did good.
Preaching. All righty. I'm getting lost in Mana's paragraph.
Oh, hang on. There's a question in the chat. Are there any ships? It's from Erica. Are there any ships you wrote once and wouldn't again?
Okay.
Probably, but I can't. Any ship with Crowley? I fucking love Crowley so much, and he's so hard for me to write with anybody else. I would love to be able to write Crowley all the time, but every time I do, I feel like I got it wrong. And so after I post it, I always have this feeling of, I'm never going to write Crowley again because I can't do it right.
I'm sure it's fun. I don't know if I've read it yet. I feel like I've read all the Crowley that's on Tumblr, so I don't know. I love Crowley so much.
I do too.
The greatest. Who is it? What's the nickname they're calling him? The demon Colonel Sanders. Doesn't replace him.
No. No.
Nope. Continuing from Mana, who is just.
Oh, she wrote a book.
Yeah, she wrote the chat doesn't see our paragraph that we have sitting in front of us. But is there a difference in your approach? I said that wrong. Is there a difference in your approach when you sit down to write a ship fic versus a reader insert?
Yes. Reader inserts for me were very much a way to just have a lot of fun with the characters. I took a lot of requests with reader inserts. And because I took a lot of requests and because I did that more for actual just fun instead of me trying to like work on my own writing, I kind of kept my readers very, very vague so that anybody who read it could relate as best I could. I did not make them into, original characters. So basically, given the fact that I love the smut, my reader inserts were, and I've seen so many like beautifully done reader inserts that are so like deep and have plots, and mine were just like, somehow a woman ends up with a Winchester and they, have to share a bed because you can't just sleep on the floor. And now they have to have sex because they're sleeping in the same bed. And that was kind of because it was so much fun for me to do that.
And sometimes you just want one of those fics.
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's so much fun to like sit down and kind of have that fantasy for a few minutes and write that out. But that was kind of my approach to reader inserts. And then instead of moving to more complicated reader inserts, and instead of moving to original characters and plots that way and that kind of thing, I moved to ships instead. For me to write more complicated plots and to write more, because when you're writing a vague reader who you don't know their history and you can't really talk about their personality traits a whole lot because you don't want to get it too wrong for somebody who's reading it, but there's so much more you can do with a ship by their history and putting them in certain scenarios. And so for me, that's what I did. Instead of moving to more complicated reader inserts, I just moved to ships. So there's absolutely a difference. When I'm writing ships, I'm always thinking about, these two characters and how they interact on the show and what past experiences they have together and that kind of thing.
Sorry, I was looking for the next part, and I'm like, that's going to be interesting once we get down there.
What?
The fact that I have pretty much no information.
Oh. We'll muddle through. It's fine. What's next? Let's go.
Well, we have one in the chat.
Okay.
Jody says, I'm getting braces soon at OMG. I can't wait to write braces for characters. Have you ever done a braces type of fics?
I have not done braces, but I have done getting wisdom teeth removed.
Oh God.
Because I think a lot of us have had our wisdom teeth removed. And you know how loopy you can get.
I was not funny. I was kind of disappointed.
And some real talk about me. When I had my wisdom teeth removed, I was dating someone who was not the most helpful afterwards, and should have been. That relationship did not work out for many reasons, not just because of the wisdom tooth thing, but when I wrote my wisdom tooth, I was really thinking in my head, like, here's what should have happened. Here's what you should have done. It was kind of my, like, fix it for my bad experience.
See, bye. Erica is heading out, but
bye, Erica. Thanks for hanging out.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us. The rest of the video will be put up end of the fic, and I'll also go through. We're going to talk in a couple of seconds now. We're going to start talking about actual fics, but that's not until we have two more questions left. But okay, those are going to be linked to the bottom. I had to figure out where my train of thought was going. My train took off without me in it.
It happens all the time.
So that'll all be down below in the description later. And if you're watching this later, it should be down now, unless I don't have my shit together. Which is very, very possible. But still from Mana, we have
oh my gosh, Mana.
Yeah. Thank you, Erin. I appreciate it. And now note that I take back my thank you.
All right, let's finish Mana out. What she got for me?
Mana, what's the first ship that you read?
That I read? Honestly, I think I stumbled on Wincest accidentally before I read anything else. And I think I remember reading it and being like, this isn't, oh, it is. And then realizing that there was this whole like world out there that I had no idea about. And then I kind of put it away for a while, and got really into Destiel. That was when Destiel was pretty much what I read for the first, big chunk of time that I was an avid fanfic reader.
And the last question, thank goodness, Mana. Hi. What's the first ship that you wrote?
Destiel. Destiel was definitely the first one that I wrote.
And that's all. Thank you, Mana.
Thanks, Mana.
Appreciate all of that. So this is going to be the interesting part of the show. Recommend a few of your own ship fics today.
Yep.
And I'm looking at my doc, and I don't have a lot of information on those fics.
Just name them. I'll fill you in.
Name. Let's see. Okay, I still have your form that you filled out. We have Kiss Him.
Yep.
That says Wincest next to it. Fill us in on that one.
Kiss Him was actually probably the first like real Wincest that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And it's still one of my favorite Wincests that I've ever written.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually has an original character in it. Her name was Juliet, because I'm dramatic.
I love that.
And it was 10,000 words of Wincest porn. And the idea behind that fic, I was still kind of easing myself into writing Wincest. And so I thought, why not write a fic about easing the boys into having a relationship? So it kind of starts out with, you know, Sam and Dean getting caught up in threesomes every now and then, because I feel like that's probably actually pretty realistic. And then, you know, at one point, one woman that they're with tells Dean, you know, kiss Sam.
I think
yeah, well, she asks for a kiss, and Dean leans to her, and she says, "No, kiss him," which is why it's called that. And then,
I read this one.
Right, and then they meet Juliet, and Juliet kind of shows them how to be together. And then by the end of it, of course, Juliet leaves. She rides off into the sunset, and they're together. And so yeah, that will always be one of my favorite Wincests that I have written, because it was one of my very first ones, and I really enjoyed writing Juliet. She was fun.
So I think that one wraps that one up. Right, the next one you have is a Winmills Christmas. See, every time I hear windmills, I just think of like a windmill.
Yeah, that's the beauty of that name. So that's Sam and Jody. Last year, there was a 12 Days of Christmas challenge where we got a prompt for each day, and they were fun, silly little prompts like Christmas cookies and ornaments, and you would have to write a fic a day based on that prompt. And so I wrote a little series, a 12-part series about Sam stopping at Jody's after a hunt, and ended up getting snowed in there for a few days. And so over the 12 days, Sam and Jody kind of become an item. And I wrote that. I picked Sam and Jody because I had just watched a couple episodes. I don't remember the title of the episode where Dean goes back to the 1940s and works with Elliot Ness.
That's a Kari question. That's not a Rachel question.
Whatever that episode is called, Sam and Jody are back in the present time trying to get Dean back. And I always loved the dynamic between Sam and Jody. So I thought, you know, I'll write Sam and Jody. And I lost my heart to those two. Like, they are just I love writing them so much. And actually, since the 12 Days of Christmas, I've written on every major holiday since then. Another Winmills fic to add to. So like,
started.
Yeah, there's now like a Winmills St. Patrick's Day and a Winmills Mother's Day and a Winmills 4th of July, and 2 days from now there will be a Winmills Halloween, and so
everyone has something to look forward to. We have Halloween fic. You heard it here. Is that all you wanted to say about the Christmas?
Yeah, I think Sam and Jody is you know, we all have that one ship that we just get real gooey about, and that one's mine. I can't really even explain it. I just love the idea of the two of them together. So.
If you want him to completely melt, just bring up
Winmills.
There you go. And then, okay, the next one is something that I have not had the time to look into.
Okay.
But, Time After Time.
Yes, that's right. Thank you, Carol.
It was gonna pop up in the chat eventually.
Yep.
But sorry, I was like sitting funny. I kept sliding down. This next one is one that I've been wanting to look into for a while now. I just have not had the chance. The Coven verse. Explain to me a little bit more into what that is.
Well, the Coven verse. So, is Dean still in the chat? Justanothersaltandburn, are you still here? So I love the idea of having a blog that kind of goes along with a series. There's actually a different verse I was kind of following that has a lot of these characters in like a rock band, and these people who are writing this series have a whole blog dedicated to it, and they just reblog, you know, anything that reminds them of it. And I thought, what a cool idea. Mm-hmm. And I've always also kind of wanted to write, hey, there he is. I've also always kind of wanted to write about a coven. And that, the idea of a coven, especially an immortal coven that would go through all these different time periods, is a great, you know, you could do 1,000 blogs about that kind of aesthetic. So I'd started the blog and started thinking about, you know, and this is a real person fic for those of you that don't know. This is J2, are the main ones.
Which for those of you that don't know,
but yeah, but Daniil and Jen are there as well. Misha is there. Rob and Rich are there. Kim and Brianna are there. Everybody's there. And I've written 4 or 5, maybe a little bit more fics for it now, where we can kind of see how they all interact and where they all came from and their relationships with each other and how they've kind of met over all of these different centuries that they've been through. And I was kind of talking about it. So Just Another Salt and Burn, Dean, is a good friend of mine, and he is the best sounding board. He listens to me like ramble endlessly about these people, and pretends like I make sense of anything that I say. So thank you for that. And
those who keep the writers somewhat sane.
Yeah, and he has he's in the blog as well, and he will also reblog, you know, different things that inspire me a lot. So the blog is SPN Covenverse, and all the fics are there, and all the inspiration for the fics are there. And it's basically just the story of Jensen and Jared, who were both exposed to tragedy very, very young in ancient Scandinavia. There's a fic setup, and ended up becoming witches and starting a coven. And over the next couple thousand years, they meet Jen and Daniil, and they meet Misha, and they meet all these other people and kind of form their own coven. And I haven't written the main fic yet, just because I feel like it's going to be, you know, novel length, and so but I have an idea of where they're going with that. But anyway, it's just a fun little thing for me to kind of look through all these different aesthetics and all these different blogs and find kind of create these new characters. And somebody just asked in the chat, what made you decide to write the Covenverse RPF? Because while I was down the Wincest hole, I also have kind of gotten down the J2 hole a little bit when it comes to reading fics. And I decided for this one, it would be fun. There wasn't a real reason why it was RPF other than just I hadn't written that quite this way yet and wanted to.
That's all you really need, is the fact that you want
to. Yeah.
And the last thing you finish out the fics that you brought is any of your kink list.
Oh, the kink list.
The kink list. Give us the glory that is the kink list.
Well, the kink list is fun for me because it was when I basically decided I'm really a ship writer now, not just a reader insert writer who every now and then writes a ship. I am also a ship writer, and so my kink list is 100 different kinks. Oh, bye, Amy. So my kink list is 100 different kinks, and each one has a different ship pairing, and so it's been fun to write those. Just because I don't have to, because they're all kinks, I don't necessarily have to come up with a lot of plot for them. I can kind of just jump right in and explore the different kinks instead of,
funny story. So. I know exactly what kink list you used because
oh yeah, it floats around Tumblr a lot.
That kink list, I pulled my very first fic that I posted came from that kink list.
Really? That's so fun. And I tweaked it a little bit. There were a few that I changed, and then I took some requests for it as well. But yeah, it's the major kink list I think that floats around Tumblr quite a bit. And I've written about 30, I think, fics of the 100 so far, but it's always a good time.
Okay, so just kind of I think that rounds out the kink list, kind of. Which rounds out all of the your fics. So we actually have one from Jody again, chilling in the chat. That isn't totally related to the current conversation, but that's okay. We can segue. But how do you come up with titles? That can be a struggle.
Oh, I don't come up with titles. If anybody has paid attention to my fics, my titles fucking suck. Like, I will pick one random word that I used once in the fic, and that's the title. Titles are so hard. They are so hard. And so I tend to just phone it in and just...
I have something on, I have one that's on my master list that just says Untitled Drabble.
Yes, I love it. I love it.
Great. It's just called Untitled. I don't remember what ship or what pairing it is. I don't know. I just remember it going Untitled. I'm like, okay. Great job, past Rachel. That's a problem for future Rachel. Alrighty. So we have some questions that Kari stuck in the doc about it, but where did she put there? What makes you proud of these fics that you mentioned in particular?
Oh, what makes me proud about Kiss Him is that still when I go back and read it now, I don't cringe at it. And that sounds like such a small thing. But for a writer, like, I think a lot of times, anytime we go back and read anything, we find, you know, that one part that we wish was a little different, or we find that one sentence that we wish we had rearranged somehow. Like, we're our own worst critics, and it's very easy to read something you've already written and think, man, I should have done this. But I don't really do that with Kiss Him. With Kiss Him, I just kind of, I enjoy it because it was very, it is porn for sure, but it also has this undercurrent of emotion that's very specific to Sam and Dean. And I think I was proud of that. And then the Coven verse I'm proud of just because I enjoy the blog that goes with it, and I think it's been a fun collaborative experience with Dean, Just Another Salt and Burn for me, actually, to kind of go back and forth and talk about that. That's been fun. So.
And so, is there anything? Did we talk about the Christmas one?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, sorry.
It's okay.
I had an email pop up, and I was like, I had an email pop up from one of my clubs, and I was like, is this urgent enough that I need to look at it now, or no? And then I guess that's what I was thinking about. I have the attention span of a goldfish, guys. This is why I shouldn't be allowed to do this thing by myself. We did. What gave you the idea for the poly witch? This is not mine. The RP of Poly Witch blog / fic universe.
Yeah, that's the Coven. We talked about that.
I'm aware. I'm just kind of like.
Yeah, she phrased that in the longest way possible.
We can make fun of her because she's not here. Oh, I'm gonna be hearing about this. She also, Michelle, are we struggling?
Okay, Lizzie just put in the chat, one of Sam's trials should have been titling a fic, and I love it.
True. I can get behind that. Hell, take note. Can you tease? Kari wants to know, can you tease any future stuff in that universe? In parentheses, because Kari loves it and is curious. Actually, Coven are curious.
In the Covenverse, yeah. Kari does love the Covenverse. She's talked to me several times about it. Yeah, I can tease that. So I'm actually working on a longer fic right now about how Misha came into the Coven, because we've seen how Jared and Jensen came together, how they met and came together, and we've seen a lot of different relationships in the present day. So we know that somewhere along the way they met Misha, and he became a very integral part of the Coven. And so right now I'm writing the story about how they met him and how he became part of that group, and I'm really excited about it. So.
The world needs more Misha.
Do what?
The world needs more Misha.
Oh yeah, love me some Misha.
Needs to be more Misha. And we talked about the 12 Days of Christmas and what was special about it and everything. And you have any future plans for the series on your blog aside from the Witchverse? You don't have to say what you have any plans.
For just any kind of series. Well,
again, I didn't write these questions, and
no, I know.
She who did sliced her foot open. So,
I am in the middle of writing a J2 fic on AO3 called Curiosity. That is basically the ship version of Faking It. If anybody has read my reader insert Faking It, it started out as very similar to Faking It. It's kind of taken a different direction. And that's the series that I'm focused on right now. I get really distracted, so my series don't always go very well because I get so distracted. One shots are better for me.
Same for real. And that's Curiosity on AO3. I'm putting that in the doc because I'm going to go read that next because it was fucking good. So there's that. And Jody wants to know where we're from. U.S.
The United States. My top secret government job prevents me from saying anything more specific than the United States.
I will say I'm in the south portion of the U.S. Yeah. Every once in a while you can hear the accent come out.
Oh, thanks, Michelle. Michelle just wrote in the chat. Thank you.
Michelle, just so you know, Rosie and I were watching the video that I secretly took of you when you were singing before. She should know not to do things when Rachel has a phone around. I'll have to send that to you later. But yeah, that wraps up the oh no, oh yes. That wraps up the part about your themes. So we asked you also to bring fics from other authors related to the theme. Sorry.
So hang on. I know that I only wrecked ship writers because we're talking about shipping today.
Yes.
But I do want to throw out there a reader insert writer. Everybody who is listening to this and watching this, if you are not following Allie, Little Green Plastic Soldier.
Oh my
God. She's a reader insert writer, which I know is not what we're talking about right now, but I will shout Allie's praises until the end of time. Yes. Because she is amazing. Not just her writing, but her herself. She is amazing. But her writing, nobody, like Sam and Dean are more in character in her fics than they are on the show.
Sam and Dean out there. Big canon.
So that being said, now let's talk about ship writers.
Yeah. Which honestly, I haven't heard of these, so I'm gonna have to do my research when I'm not, online. But the first one you have is Ballad of the Invisible Boy by dollylux.
Talk about Ballad of the Invisible Boy by dollylux without like tearing up and getting super emotional. So dollylux, if you ship Wincest or J2 at all, you need to be paying attention to dollylux. She is incredible. She understands those characters in a way that anyway, so the Ballad of the Invisible Boy is, I want to say like probably 300,000 words.
Goodness.
It starts when Sam is 11 or 12.
Baby Sam.
Yeah, and he knows he's in love with Dean and he hates himself for it.
Oh, poor baby.
And so he grows up hating himself for being in love with Dean, and we see him struggle, and it gets pretty dark, and we see him go to Stanford, and it breaks my heart. Like, I physically hurt to read this fic. And then we see him all through Stanford, and we see him and then obviously he's with Jess. She goes canon in it, and she keeps him with Jess in college, and then Dean comes back and Dad's on a hunting trip, and we all have the feels that one statement gives us, because everybody who's part of the Supernatural fandom has the feels when you hear Dad's on a hunting trip. And And she goes through most of the first season, kind of episode by episode, as we see Sam and Dean, as we see them realize that like Dean is just as in love with Sam as Sam has always been with Dean, and they end up, you know, kind of exploring that and figuring that out. But it's just it's heart-wrenching, and it's beautifully written, and it's so in character, and it changes the way that I watch the first season now. Actually, there are some things, not even just the Wincest parts, but like there are just some things that she talks about their childhood that seem like canon to me now, and I cannot say enough good things about her. And that's just my favorite fic of hers. She's got several that are just fantastic. So,
but there you go. There, if you didn't have anything to do this week, now you do.
Now you do.
And then next is anything by Just Another Salt and Burn, who is chilling in our chat around.
Dean, anything by Dean. Dean ships all the rare pairs and writes all the rare pairs, and they're wonderful. Which is why I said anything by him. Go check out his master list. And
once you finish 300,000 words of Ballad of Winmills, if you happen to finish that,
right,
we got you covered.
Go check out Just Another Salt and Burn. As far as individual fics by Dean that stand out to me, there was a recent J2 ABO fic, if anybody out there is into ABO, where it was a family planning fic, having more pups, as the ABO universe does, and it was so hot and so good. And then there was another J2 one that he actually wrote for my Sweet Emotions challenge, where, spoiler alert, Jared names the upstairs of his bar after Jensen, and it's adorable and wonderful and hot, and also a little angsty, and I love it. So anything by Just Another Salt and Burn is perfect.
So there you go. And we also have Patience by Rise and the Fallenone.
Yeah, so I know that Michelle, who is in the chat, I know that she's keeping up with another fic by Rise of the Fallenone. These are Destiel fics, by the way, for the Destiel shippers out there. Rise of the Fallenone wrote, I think it's Into the Deep is the one that Michelle likes, which I have not actually read. But she wrote Patience, which is just an AU of Cass being in college, and Sam also being in college, and Dean working at Bobby's mechanic shop, and the three of them end up living together, and Cass and Dean end up with a friends with benefits situation that, of course, feelings develop, and it's kind of a kink exploration fic, as well as being just a really sweet fic about Dean and Cass. So really well written, a lot of angst, a lot of twists and turns, and it's wonderful.
Yeah, thank you for the context, Michelle, because
Oh yeah, Cass can't bottom because he's a fish. That's Into the Deep. That's the one that Michelle loves. And to like she said in the chat, to be fair, it is a mermaid fic, so that's not actually as strange of a statement as it sounds.
Well, before she put that it was a mermaid, it was a pretty strange statement. And I'm just sitting here like, am I still drunk?
I love it.
Okay. So moving on from the fish porn, we have Offering by shaylea. Am I saying that right? Shaylea?
Yes. Offering is a fic I just recently found, and it is a J2 fic. And basically the setup is Jensen and Jared are college roommates, and Jensen accidentally sees Jared naked one day in their room, and that kind of starts a whole. Jensen is very suppressed and comes from a very conservative family, and seeing Jared naked kind of sparked some things. And so it's not done. It's still a work in progress. But we're seeing Jared kind of, it's called Offering because Jared offers himself to Jensen to kind of explore that side of himself. So much angst because the whole time that they're together and obviously in love with each other, they are not knowing that Jensen's just going to go home to his conservative family and that it's not going to work out. And so we're not to the end yet. So hopefully, but. Oh, Michelle, there it is. Shaylea.
I got you. Alrighty. Does that wrap that up?
Yes, for me it does.
So I still have not heard from Karina. We're wrapping up today's episode, which feels kind of weird. I'm slightly concerned because I haven't heard from her, and it's almost 9:30 where she is. Hey Jody, speaking of friends' Halloween party, and you're scared you're gonna drunk post, check my post last night. I was definitely, yeah, that was, don't party with my family. Moral of the story. My uncle and cousin, because I was telling Kim this earlier, I have a giant knot on the back of my head because my uncle thought it was a good idea to tip me over the back of the couch, and I literally flipped over the back of the couch and rolled and hit my head on the floor. I would like to disclaim that I did not fall onto the floor. I was pushed. Tumblr friends, yes, Tumblr friends are the most understanding of drunk posting. It's kind of fun. But all we have left is to do some rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. And just so you guys know, I do use the same list. I pull from the same list every time, but I don't do the same answers, or I don't do the same order. Of course, it's not child abuse. Well, seeing that he's the same age as Karina is, he's actually younger than Karina. So he's pretty much a child himself. He's only like 29. He's only a few years older than me. Yeah. Lizzie, no, it was not an awesome flip. He's my mom's little brother, so the very first thing I told him while he was trying to figure out if I was hurt was, I'm going to tell your sister. Yeah, that was an adventure. My head still hurts from that. Okay, rapid fire before I keep getting distracted.
All right, let's do it.
Are you ready? Beach.
I'm ready. Beach or what? Sorry, you cut out on the very first one.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Cat or dog?
Dog.
Long fic, short fic?
To read, long fic. To write, short fic.
Rain or snow?
Snow.
Canon or AU?
Canon.
GIFs or just plain text? Like GIFs inside the writing?
Yeah. Plain text.
Plain text. Boat or plane?
Plane.
Phone or computer?
Computer.
Music or quiet while writing?
TV in the background.
Same. Pasta or pizza?
Pasta.
Reading poetry or writing poetry?
Reading.
Reading or writing in general?
Writing.
Angst or fluff?
Angst.
Coke or Pepsi?
Coke.
True. And Coke. Let's pick out one more good one. Second person or first person?
First person.
You did good. You did better than I. Was it Michelle that was doing terribly? I think Michelle doesn't like rapid fire, I think.
It's a lot of pressure.
Yeah, pretty much. So that's all I got. So I get, let's see, 2 weeks from today, we are going to be talking with, who is it? Dean Sweetheart, whose name I cannot pronounce. You need time, Rachel. You do not need time. That's the whole point of a rapid fire. I want to say it's like Athina. I can't pronounce it, guys. I'm gonna learn how to pronounce it for 2 weeks from now. I promise. But we're going to be talking about feedback. No, I'm not gonna. Well, I mean, Kari's not here, Aaron. I can't do Kari or Rachel when Kari's not here. Who, if you guys want to stay on, I'm about to call Kari and see how she's doing. So if you guys want to stay on,
let's do that as part of the live feed.
Like, I'm gonna call her on my phone and see how it goes. But if you have any questions for we're just going to call her A. That's what she said. Call me. Let's see. Responses. Summary. So that if we're seeing it. Athina. I'm going to say Athina. That's how you pronounce it, I think. Dean Sweetheart, if I'm saying that wrong, sweetie, please let me know. Because, yes, we are going to call Kari, Aaron. If you have any questions for Athina about feedback and getting that, put that in my inbox or Kari's inbox. We'll make sure we talk about them. If you have talked anything about for Kim, feel free to ask her in her inbox. I'm sure she'd appreciate that. Anything can go into my inbox. And let's call Karina, see if she picks up.
Let's call her right now with all of us still here.
Yeah, it's ringing. She could still be in the emergency room. I don't know. Yes, Jody, we do talk to new people every time. It's me and Kari, and we always have a guest that joins us for whoever joins specifically for that week. We have someone that really is kind of knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, Michelle is right. The emergency rooms do take forever. The last time I was in the emergency room, I was there for 9 hours. So
yeah, Kari's been there for almost 5 hours now. Okay,
yeah.
she said it takes 30 minutes to get down there. Okay, I'm gonna try one more time just to see. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit this time though.
And while we're waiting, if anybody has any more questions for us, the chat is still open. I love talking about my ships.
Just so you don't have to listen to them on its own.
No questions. Everybody's tired of listening to me ramble.
Well, there's also a delay, so it might. There's a couple minutes delay. Oh, the tune is catchy. I've been listening to it way too much. My chicken went cold, guys. I got 2 more chicken tenders left and they're cold.
Another work in progress on the other ones. Oh yeah, Dean, I did. I did. Are you talking about Hey Jealousy? Is that the one you're talking about? There's one based off the song Hey Jealousy by
yeah, Kari.
Oh, Kari. And it's on hiatus right now because curiosity has taken over my life. But it will. I left it on a cliffhanger too. I'm sorry. But yeah, it's Dean catches Sam, and I think Sam's in high school. He's 16 or 17, and Dean catches him with another girl because Sam's trying to forget about Dean, and jealousy ensues because those two hate anybody else that's not each other. So
accurate.
that is the epic love story of Sam and Dean.
Here's another good one. With characters from any other shows?
I've never really thought about it. When I first started my blog, a friend of mine asked me to write a few crossovers with Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Yeah.
And she really shipped Dean and Willow, which I thought was super interesting. Hard to write. Probably not the most realistic pairing in real life, but it was a lot of fun to think about those two worlds crossing over. But other than that, I've never really thought about it.
Well, that answers that. Kari did not pick up. She's probably still at the doctor. I got nothing. Whenever I hear from her, I'll post. So if those who are very concerned, you want to message her directly, you can message me later. I'll try to post an update just so you're not like hanging on with this fear. I don't think it was actually that serious of an injury. She just probably, I mean, she could be home and just passed out because of medicine they gave her. You never know. So I will definitely update you guys whenever I hear. So that's pretty much all I got. Thank you so much, Kim, for hanging out with me and everyone in the chat. We had a great time.
Yes, thank you guys for listening to me ramble endlessly.
I mean, we wouldn't have it any other way. But let me figure out how the heck to turn this off.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys. Love you all.